Hey, what's going on out there, folks? Rooster here in Tennessee. Got a little setup we're going to test here. Bottom piece is a 150 amp power supply, and that's going to a gentleman that's already bought a 8 pill from me. Top piece is a 8 pill standard 2879 that a friend of his is getting. So we tested his 8 pill earlier this week or last week, I don't remember. Going to test this 8 pill on this supply. Now, we'll say this thing is wired 110, 120, but you do need, a 20 to 30 amp line coming to it. Adequate wire and a 20 to 30 amp breaker to run this thing. I am actually not equipped to properly run it. Probably running off a 15 amp shared line, probably 15 amps to the whole area that I'm in. So it won't be at optimal performance right here the way we're running, but going to test it anyway and get a good ballpark idea of what he can expect out of it. That's one thing a lot of people, well, not a lot of people, but some people don't understand. You can have a 200 or 150 amp power supply, but if you don't have the proper AC power coming to it, you're still going to be coming up a little short. Now, this supply, the voltmeter, somewhere along the lines, whether it got knocked loose in shipping or whether it's just a bad voltmeter, it has gone out. Unfortunately, I've never had one of those go out before, but things happen. Already spoke to the customer on the phone about it. He doesn't care. He said send it on and we'll just send him a replacement meter. He can put it in himself or have a friend of his put it in. He's not worried about it. He'd rather just get his supply. So I told him as long as he was cool with that, I was cool with it. I'd get a hold of Fatboy and get him one down there. It works out best that way. I don't have to ship it back. I don't have to have them ship it to me. And then I put it in, and then he has to wait a week, whatever, to get his power supply. This way he can run his power supply. There's nothing wrong with the supply functionality-wise. Besides the voltmeter on the front's not working. He can be running it when his voltmeter comes in, he can install it or what have you. That being said, we're going to demonstrate and show that we have the proper voltage coming out here because our voltmeter on the front is not working. So we want to make sure everything's good to go before it leaves here. Going to take our probes and hook to the back of the supply. The supply is already running. .50. So that's perfect. That's exactly what we wanted to see. I hate that the voltmeter's not working, like I told him. I don't like shipping stuff out halfway working or with flaws, but if the customer insists or they're okay with it, then I'm okay with it. Okay, now let's get down to business here. It's going to do a demonstration. We'll go ahead and we'll turn our 8 pill on. I'm going to drive it with my Old Faithful here. Smooth 160 on low. It does right about 200 watts, I believe, 180, 200 watts. And on high, this thing will actually do about 250 PEP. And I don't really know if we've got the wall juice to make a difference running it on high. But we'll give it a shot and see what happens. We'll start out on low. Clamp meter set to the 400 setting. 2500 watt slug in the bird meter over here. I'll go ahead and key up, make sure our dead key is okay. We can go a little higher. Okay, that's just shy of a 250 watt dead key, and that's where we're going to run it for the video. You can run it maybe a little more if you want to, but I think that's a decent dead key just for the video. Okay, clamp meter. 50-ish amps on the dead key. Hello. 107, 108 amps on the audio. Again, this is on low. That's about 200 watts peak going in. Now, let's look at average power, see what we're working with. 2500 watt slug, top scale. Audio, 750 watts average. 4 pills usually do what? 400 average, 375. So, and we're not driving this thing with full output. Now, what do I recommend to put into this? 300 watts PEP maximum drive is what I recommend. Other people may tell you different. Really, about 250 or so going in is going to be cruising it, and should last you a good while like that. We'll go to PEP. Again, this is with our radio, or our little driver on low. Audio. Just shy of that little hash mark, which would be 1750. So we'll call that 1700 with about 200 PEP going in. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to flip this thing to high. And like I said, I think it does about 250, 260 on high. I'm going to go ahead and back my dead key down a little bit, because it's probably going to key a lot more. There we go. Relay was chattering at first. We didn't have enough going into it. So I may run out of wall juice basically to power this thing on high, so don't be surprised if it doesn't do a lot more power, but we should see more current draw at least. Audio, oh yeah, audio, 120 plus amps. So yeah, we saw some more current draw for sure. Okay, let's test it on average now. See if the average power changed any. Still 2500 watt slug, top scale. Audio, about 800 watts average. Let's go to PEP. Audio, about 1750, maybe a little more. Pretty good. Standard 4 pills, power output usually runs between 800, 900 watts PEP, maybe a little more. That's with about 140 or 150 going in. So we're seeing 1750 with about 260 going in, and what we see, about 1700 with about 200 going in. So tells me that the 8 pill is doing all that it should. It's doing a good job. We're starving our power supply for power, and we're still getting some good numbers out of it. So anyway, I think that's it, guys. Key it up one more time. We'll go to peak power. We'll just talk into the mic normal for those that like to see that. Test audio, 1, 2, 3. Test audio, 1, 2, 3. No trickery on my CB. Test audio, 1, 2, 3. Audio, 1750. 2879C. We'll do a little more, but out of the standards, I believe that's an acceptable number. All right, guys. Rooster in Tennessee. To the gentleman that purchased these items, I appreciate your business, appreciate your patience, and thanks for working with me on this thing. Like I said, guys, this is why we test everything before it goes out. Things happen, you know, parts malfunction, this, that, and the other, so always like to double test before we ship anything out, and make sure that we know if anything's wrong with it, or the customer knows, and if possible, you know, try to make it right before it goes out. Alright, guys, Rooster in Tennessee, appreciate it. Questions, comments, complaints, let me know. Shoot me a text, 423-299-3535. See you, bye.